Hello and welcome to this month's edition of My Cyber Why. Today we have Ayesha Prakash who is with us today. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, Ayesha.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and you do so many different things, so I'm really excited to dig in. But before we get into what you do for work and in cyber, who are you and what do you do as a person?
Well, my name is Ayesha Prakash. I am a Indian-born naturalized American who came to this country as a preteen. I will say I am very thankful and grateful to my parents for bringing me to this country and giving me the opportunities that I've been given. I've been very lucky, and I'm not sure if I would have had those opportunities if I wouldn't have came here, to be honest. Professionally, I'm a vice president of Global Partnerships and Technology Alliance at CALA, which is a cyber threat intelligence firm specializing in the dark web and the cybercrime underground. In my spare time, I do volunteer for various nonprofits, but specifically, I'd like to talk about the National Child Protection Task Force today. NCPTF is a 100% volunteer-run organization. Essentially, our mission is to educate law enforcement and also support them in live time-sensitive cases as it relates to human trafficking, child exploitation, and missing persons. I'm very humbled and I guess honored to call Kevin Metcalf a friend and a colleague at the NCPTF. He's the founder, and he's someone who I like to call someone who's a lawyer by day and a superhero by night. And essentially what we're doing at NCPTF is using a lot of open source intelligence techniques and tools, cyber investigation intelligence technology companies like Kayla, they donate, including Kayla, their technologies to us. And we leverage those technologies as well as our unique expertise from our volunteers to really help support law enforcement at a global scale, whether you're a local agency or a bigger government federal agency, whether you are local or international, we're supporting any and every case that we're able to, and that's our mission. I would say something else that I really am proud of, or I guess I would say, I call myself, I would say I'm an advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion as well in cyber specifically. As a female of color within cyber, I feel like it's my obligation to really use my personal privilege to help others that could and help open doors for others in need. And many years ago, we started this unofficial sort of movement. I would say pay it forward in cybersecurity, and essentially what it is people helping other people. If you know someone who could use your help and input, whether it's introducing them to a hiring manager, or helping with a particular project, or navigating with some challenges professionally, instead of asking for a thank you back, you hold them accountable to go help another person in need. And what that does is really create this domino effect. People helping people, people getting to be mentor and mentee simultaneously, and really creating your own domino effect to make a change and an impact within our community to diversify it. And finally, I would say something that I do for more from a mindfulness. I mean, cybersecurity, as we know, is a pretty hectic and also sometimes chaotic realm, and it's not always positive news. So mindfulness is huge for me for my day to day. And earlier this year, my significant other and I, we graduated from transcendental meditation, and something that I do daily, twice a day, and I highly recommend to anyone and everyone. Meditation is game changing. And today's world we live in, with all the chaos and a lot of the negativity, it can really help balance things out for you.
How did you first get involved in the Child Protection Network? Like, what was the motivation?
Well, it was through Kayla. I had the opportunity to meet with Kevin Metcalf on a business engagement where he expressed to me what he does on the side, and I was just taken back. In fact, we have a term called within our NCPTF community being Metcalf. If the moment you talk to Kevin and hear his pitch and the mission, there's no going back, and that was exactly the case with me. When I heard what he was doing and the efforts of these hundreds of volunteers that work with us globally, I was just so impressed. It's like, what can I do? How can I help? And being able to leverage my experience in in technology partnerships and in program advocacy and PR, I've been able to help support many efforts, including fundraising.
I know previously when we were talking about your work that you've mentioned, but some of these volunteers have been able to accomplish. Is it possible to share a story or two?
Yeah, I can't share specifics, as you know, because these are real cases. But what I can share is how we're leveraging our expertise. So, I'll give an example. A federal law enforcement agency might provide us with one image that they have acquired from, let's say, from the dark web. And they'd like us to go identify and find this particular child. And we have to now find them anywhere in the world. And these unique, and I will say I'm so proud of our task force. They volunteer their time, and this is 100% volunteer driven, by the way. They volunteer their time by coming up with unique ways to identify even the little bits and pieces where the brick was developed originally, which architecturally in the late 1800s, to identify exactly. Now we're down to Europe, and being able to kind of break that down to be able to zone into one country and be able to identify. This is actually a use case where we're able to find a multi-year long child exploitation ring in a particular country in Europe, which was something the law enforcement at the time for this particular country was completely in a different continent. And we were able to really use our tools and our techniques to be able to, and this was in a matter of minutes, able to really zone into this particular region and able to really attribute back and bring these predators to justice.
That's just amazing thinking about how much detail there is in a photo, and that, all of these volunteers working together can identify these small details. You think, oh, how are we ever going to track? And then, oh, they identify something like that, and that's the clue that cracks the case. So you do a lot. You've got even an executive VP level job full time. You've got two volunteer bodies that you're in. You also just got certified in transcendental meditation. How do you find the energy in the morning to wake up? What's your cyber why? What drives you every day?
Well, I would say it's many reasons. So before I even say what my cyber why is, I will highlight that my entry into cybersecurity was completely by chance. I was prospecting to an organization that happens to be an endpoint security company at the time, Invincia, that has now been acquired. The then CEO, Anup Ghosh, thank you, Anup, for giving me the opportunity to bring me into his company and creating a position for me. So that was my original entry into cybersecurity. It was not intended, but it was the best decision that I made for my career. And what continues to keep me in cyber is really, there's various reasons, but the main reason is I'm honored to be working with what I like to call silent heroes. And what I mean by that is not just the intelligence, working with some of the top intelligence analysts in the world today, but also my clients, my partners, the security teams. These are the heroes. They're protecting their organization, their country, one less breach at a time. And it feels great and exciting to wake up every day and be part of that, play my small part in making that change and being part of this big global effort. Another reason I would say, there's a reason why we've had a 0% unemployment rate in cybersecurity in the last decade, because there's so many growth opportunities. I've been able to pivot into different roles within my cyber career, in the last decade. And I've been very lucky to be able to do that. And that's because, again, there's so many opportunities for you. And then going back to growth, but also learning. Every day you wake up, there's a new ransomware group out, there's a new TTP being talked about, there's things that are trending every single day as it relates to our industry. And that's not just specifically, closed into our industry. Everyone in the world cares about what's going on. And I think every day I come in, I learn something new. And it's really just having a sort of an educational arm attached to your day-to-day work. And it's learning and growing every single day.
As far as the work with the Pay It Forward, is there anything that you've seen that really particularly inspired you that, if you're feeling particularly low, you think, yes, that was one of those just moments that it's all worthwhile.
Last, I believe it was last year, or I can't recall if it was this year, for the International Women's Day, I received a message. I received several messages. First, I will add that. So I'm very proud to say that Pay It Forward movement has actually been expanded in little pockets globally, unofficially, which is quite exciting. But I received particular text from an individual, and she's in the Middle East now, and she thanked me for helping her in the way that I did, that really expanded her career and really took her to the next level. And it was so humbling, and it felt actually really that feel good feeling you get inside. You're like, wow, this is making a difference. I am helping others and they're helping others. And she expressed to me not only what I did to help her, but what she did to help others. And that's exactly what, and it just makes you feel so good to know that this is continuing with or without me, right? It's not a formal thing. If you tell people about it, they're leveraging it. And honestly, that's the best feeling.
And you're seeing, yeah, the impact well outside of yourself, which is, I mean,
Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
lovely. So how can the last question is always like, how can people get involved? And I think with you, it'd be very specific around how could people get involved with the task force? Are you still looking for volunteers? And also, how could they get involved with the Pay It Forward movement?
Yeah, absolutely. So for NCPTF, we're a 100% volunteer driven organization. There are several ways that you can help, and you don't have to be a cyber professional to help here. So number one, you can go to ncptf.org and donate. That's number one way you can help us. And if you're interested in volunteering, listen, like I said, we're not just looking for investigators or cybersecurity technologists. We're looking for people to come help us from an operations perspective, from marketing perspective, fundraising perspective. So if you want to get back to the community, truly make a difference, and also this can be a big move for your career as well, because you're going to get the opportunity to work with some top dogs in the industry. Come join us, check out the site, fill out the volunteer form, and at the very least, donate and give back. For the paid forward movement, I would say, listen, you don't even have to know me. Don't contact me if you don't have to. Again, connect with me. Understand that paid forward is people helping other people. So today you can start your own domino effect. And here's how you do it. You go identify someone who could use your help them, and hold them accountable to help the other person. That's all you have to do, is pick one person you can help, and you'll see the domino effect be created just by you helping that one individual. Um, and finally, I would say this too, we're hearing about, breaches are a day in a life every single day. Whether it's SolarWinds that took place earlier this year, Colonial, there's new ransomware groups that are being created daily. Organizations now even have kind of an obligation not just to look at their perimeter-based defenses, but also look at what's going on the outside. It's important to know what's going on from the outside in. So if you're interested in finding out what are the threats associated with your organization from the outside in, reach out to me. That's what we do at Kayla. We're here to help support you. And if you're a nonprofit that's supporting the mission as it relates to human trafficking and child exploitation, again, Kayla is here to help. So please reach out to us. We'd love to know how we can help and serve.
Thank you so much. And I have to say, after meeting you and you explaining Pay It Forward, that it really did affect a change in me. So when someone asks for help, yes, I'll help you, but please promise that you'll help someone else. And it's a simple thing, but it starts a really, virtuous circle, I think, of support.
You know
So
what? That's great to hear. Honestly, it's music to my ears, and that's essentially what it is. Go help
yeah,
others, and you'll see the impact you're making. And it feels good to help others, honestly. So
it does. It does. And thank you. Thank you so much for the work you do also with the Child Protection Task Force. And thank you for being here and sharing your My Cyber Why.
yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right. And thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you next month. Bye-bye.